So, it's your host, Weston Scribner, and I'm here to do a quick introduction to two different websites. But the main purpose of this is for congregations who are having to move on Zoom or Facebook Live or other platforms like that, and you want to be able to share PDFs of music that you want to sing, which includes the notes and the lyrics and such things like that. This is just going to be video tackling one of the ways to do that. There are several other ways. So with those things in mind, here you go. First thing I'm going to do is click on a new screen recording so you can see what I'm seeing right in front of me. Okay, so you should be able to see what I'm seeing at this point, and including this very lovely conflicting picture of different colors and oh, the storminess of it all. I love that. But I'm getting distracted. I'm going to tell you about hymnary.org, which is in the browser I have open at this moment. This is a subset, by the way, of Christian Classics Ethereal Library. Hang on to that for a second. We're going to get back to hymnary first. Let's say that you wanted to sing the hymn, Jesus Loves Me. Okay? So, I'm going to type that into here and see what comes up. Okay, here we go. So there are a number of different options, and you need to make sure you click on the right version. That's the first thing that you'll learn navigating the site. Sometimes it'll have the same title, but it'll be different music, or same title but different lyrics. So here we go. Let's click on the first one, Jesus Loves Me. Okay. This looks kind of what we want. There's a lot of different features on the screen that I haven't yet unpacked, but let's say you wanted to make it get into a PDF version. You would go here, printable scores, and then you would click PDF. This would bring you to this page where you could bring it up for other people to see, or you could tell people maybe through this video how to get to something like this, and you could sing through the entire hymn. Now there are different versions with different amounts of verses and different key signatures and things like that. All of that will vary, but yeah, here's just the basic setup for you to see. And really cool, you can learn more about the author. So it has a whole person page on most of these authors for hymns. As well, you could learn a little bit about the original publishing date. So like this one seems to have originated in 1987, if not a little bit earlier. You could also look at extra textual reference information, like what hymns are related to this, or sometimes it'll say there's a difference between the person who wrote the music and a difference between the person who wrote the lyrics, and sometimes it'll say that too. It'll also tell you about the meter, if you want to be really crazy and make lyrics of your own, but have the same musical structure. That's a possibility. Yeah, and it has lots of different information. It even has some bulletin blurbs down at the bottom where it kind of gives you a little bit of a meditation path to go through. It differs for each one. Sometimes it's based upon the author's perspective as they were writing the hymns. Sometimes it's something completely different. You just have to look at each hymn entry for what they're worth, or for what they have printed. You've also got a lot of different arrangements for handbells, instruments, choral groups, piano and organ, and things like that. So there's just a quick introduction to hymnary.org, but I mentioned that there was this other site, and hymnary.org is a subset of this other site. So let me introduce you to that. This grand website is called Christian Classics Ethereal Library. And what you can do is, for example, if you were ever curious about the early church or generations past and what they wrote about Christianity, you could go and you could click right here, Early Church Fathers, and that would bring you to here, and it has a whole catalog of things you can look through. Let's say, though, that I wanted to look at this very first volume featuring these dudes right here. Okay, now these would have been some of the earliest male leaders in the Christian movement, right after, say, the book of Acts in the New Testament. There is also this thing called metristics, which is a recent kind of discipline trying to unearth and see what kind of writings influential female leaders had on Christianity. But for the most part, we've done the most historical research with patristics, which is male leaders. So let's say we click on volume 1, and let's say we wanted to scroll down here. Normally, I like to click the read online option in HTML, but you could also read on mobile. You could also download it, and you can also listen to it. Let's say we click HTML. Okay, this brings us to the very first page, and after that, you could keep scrolling along, page after page, or you could click this button for the contents, and it will give you a breakdown of what you want to read. So let's say I wanted to read the first epistle to the Corinthians from Clement of Rome. Okay, so this would be the very first page. It might seem a little bit funky how they have it laid out so that you have to keep scrolling along, but minor issue. Scroll along and you get to the first chapter, and there are different settings that you could put on this. Like if you wanted it to be a dark theme, you could press this. If you wanted to increase the text size, you could do this. And if you wanted to change the Bible version, you could also do that. Let's say I wanted American Standard Version. Or say you wanted to change up the footnotes, you could also change those, and you could also change the font type and other things like that. So, with those things having been said, I hope this has been a helpful tutorial, and I hope that in this time of, I said time weird, didn't I? Anyway, I hope that in this moment of great uncertainty, not only medically, but economically, that we can get through as smoothly as possible. And please be as well as possible. Please be as safe as possible. This has been A Moment with your host, Weston Scrivener, and I'm wishing you a very wonderful day. As well, may the force be with you ever more deeply, and may the odds be ever more in your favor. All right. Take care, y'all.